Today's topic on Self-Love Sunday is going to be about the incredible power of unconditional self-love. And I am reminded over and over and over again the healing power of unconditional self-love. So I really want to talk about this in different ways. I want to talk about it in terms of how it affects our physical body, how we use it to heal, how we use it to alchemize. We're going to take a look at the alchemization process that happens in the physical body when we embody love. And I have proven it not only to myself, but working with clients over and over and over again. It doesn't matter what illness you have or difficult situation you're experiencing in life. The neutral point, the 0 point of co-creation, is located at that point of unconditional self-love. So this is what we want to learn. And essentially, because many of us have not experienced love at an early age, we haven't during our childhood, we believed that we experienced love in the way that it was presented to us from our parents, from whatever they knew how, the best way that they knew how to deliver love and affection to us. We also learned it from many different things like films and social engineering that puts very specific ideas about what love is or should be or should feel like. And there comes many times, and I'm working with clients every single day, that we encounter this question: well, are you familiar with what it means to love? And the answer is always, I'm not sure, or I don't know. So this is where we want to begin to see if thousands of people are having a difficulty understanding what it really means to love. It's almost as if we are becoming the foundation, the future, and we're establishing in the bodies chemically through the discovery of love how to transform. Now, love, unconditional love, when you feel unconditional love, many things happen in the physical body. It is a bioelectrical system that becomes activated. And it becomes activated in such a way that not only does it affect, the many systems, the interconnected systems, the endocrine system, the nervous system, the muscle systems in the body, the chemicals, right? All of these systems and the neurological and also genetic writing, the genetic writing of your DNA, the epigenetic aspect of your DNA literally becomes also affected by love. And it is so powerful that when you feel love and you learn how to alchemize, what does it mean to alchemize? To alchemize means that you transmute from the lowest point, the lowest energy state, into the highest energy state. And basically you're feeling, let's say you start in a state of fear or anger, and you immediately transmute that into a higher state of peace. So this is an example. The process of doing that is breaking neural pathways in the brain. It is rewriting your genetic code. And we're talking about genetic code that is encoded within you for not just the generation that you're born into, but we're talking about centuries and centuries, generations and generations, that is coming down through the mitochondria, existing within the matrix. For as long as we have entangled within the matrix in this biochemical, bioelectrical, morphogenetic field of existence, in which form comes into shape, the human body comes into shape, is encoded the many iterations of everything we've ever been multidimensionally. So everything we are and we express as multidimensionally in all dimensional fields are something that we access through what we think of past and future lifetimes. These are fractals of ourselves. And these fractals of ourselves that we're meeting, they are expressed as we activate DNA. What does that mean? The more you become aware of patterns that you're reliving through, you also become aware of the interconnected fractals that are encoded within those vibrational frequency aspects of yourself. So as you begin to activate your DNA, activation occurs through awareness. The awareness of these parts of you are the ones that are actually activating. And this is how we can access past and future fractals of ourselves. This is how we access ancestral lineages of ours that we can also work with. So what happens when we begin to activate these parts of ourselves? We really we begin to understand how the patterns of information have been kind of encoded in our DNA. And that DNA makes up everything from that is in the subconscious mind. Everything that is in the subconscious mind, it's what's writing the protein that makes up who you are. And also the patterns of behaviors and belief systems. So as we begin to kind of deprogram in meditation, there's a whole world of work that is available to you. But even your DNA can be affected through the transmutation process in such a way that your DNA has these processes of mutations that occur. Mutations occur as a result of transmutation. Every time that you experience transmutation for a long process of time, that means that instead of running the base code that you are born with from the matrix, which is all the belief systems that entangle you in the false realities, the let's say actually the illusions of life and its experiences, once the observer begins to observe these things, it's the observer that begins to channel source through itself, through the organism. And the channeling of source, life force through the body, is the most nourishing and a vitality source that the body can have. So as a result of having this amount of vitality in the physical body, there are chemical, electrical, bioelectrical systems that begin to shift in the body. The body functions like a network of energy. And in this field network of energy, every single point of energy that is affected by a traumatic experience becomes, let's say, unentangled. So let's say this, we become entangled, and therefore these points of energy become reference points in our existence. When you do a transmutation process, you can literally neutralize the entanglement that we have within the field. And it is within the release of that entanglement that the human has the ability of healing the body. So every single one of these points that we create, we co-create through beyond time and space. We are co-creating We are co-creating entire life experiences, entire collections of experiences. We are tuning in to patterns of experience based on vibrational resonance. This is how we come into our families, into the kind of lessons that we experience with our families. So you might think that you're nothing but a tiny little dot within one of these spheres, but what it means to wake up, actually, in the transmutation process, what it means to anchor source means that you become all of these little dots that are here in this field. So if you think about that, this is what it means to become whole. So how does the human become whole, become all this? It becomes aware of itself as that, as all these points, all these potential experiences. And how one can possibly become one with all is by maintaining that neutral point of observation, in order from that neutral point of observation to begin to emerge the bliss state. And that bliss state is the alchemical transmutation process that begins to unlock the functions of the system of this incredibly advanced organism. The chakras begin to expand and flow life force through the body. The chakras, remember, are vortices. They're vortices that create fields. Every single one of these fields is a vortex of our body. And every field creates a filter of perception. So if our field is constantly being informed by the trauma that we've experienced, let's say, with that one person in 8th grade, and we have built an entire personality around that. Personalities are complex nervous system patterns, muscle system patterns, chemical patterns, brain patterns. They're overlays of patterns that together create what we know as personalities. And personalities are a construct that we create. The ego creates the construct of a personality in order to learn how to navigate and experience your life experiences. All life experiences from your DNA, from the code of everything that you are and everything that you have been, is projected only the part that is being enforced, that is being made aware of. So this is why meditation is so important, because we need to understand the patterns that we are moving through. If we don't understand those patterns, we might keep thinking, oh, everything is fine, but I'm not moving forward. I'm not able to activate my intuition, or I'm not healing, or I'm not doing this. The body that isn't in optimum function of intuition, heightened abilities, the process of how the ultimate human should be functioning, and we're going to use that, very, very carefully. I'm saying the most optimum vitality, longevity, and health that a human organism potential can reach can be reached by the activation of its highest faculties. You can choose if you want to experience that in this lifetime or not. It's completely your choice. There is no right or wrong. Make that very clear. Because it really is up to you whether you want to experience health or not. And there are people that do not want to experience health, or they don't know that something other than that exists. Okay, so and this is perfectly fine. It's their experience. And when we look at the bigger picture, you know, this is something that we have to come to terms with in order to practice the neutral point, this concept, the non-judgmental concept, because we can get stuck and people lose years of their lives trying to understand what is right, what is wrong, how to live with wrong, how to accept wrong, or how to, you know, process that, how to accept. And this is the manifestation of the lack of the self-love of the own self, the judgment of the self. Because as above, so below, everything that we experience externally is a reflection of the internal. And what that really means is that our inability to come into neutrality is the lack of the ability to come into self-empowerment, to unconditional self-love, because empowerment is born by the fluid flow of the activation of the higher faculties. And anything less than that might be going into an egoic aspect of the human. So this is very important. How do we know the difference? Is that the choices that are made from the highest faculties are always going to be good for the collective, the whole, and the self. The whole and the self. Because you're an organism of consciousness. You are accessing consciousness. Consciousness means to know, to see, to experience, to be, to become this whole. And you're doing so infinitely. So in order to reach that ability to be one with all, we have to transcend the limitations of separation on all dimensional levels. And this is important for those of you that are my contactees, those of you that are experiencers, you know, are beginning, are not just experiencers. You know, this includes people that are having astral projections, intense dreams, people that are having interdimensional experiences, apparitions, whatever it is that you're experiencing in this realm of multidimensionality. You are tuning in to different dimensions of ourselves. This is why I always come back to the self. And people have a very hard time sometimes accepting this. But these are laws of the universe, of the interconnected oneness that are by design, mathematically, physically, at the minimal, our very human limited math and physics are able to help us understand and comprehend and process with our human brain. Because beyond that, on the higher dimensional planes, you know, our physics and our math, they don't work anymore. They cannot be applied because things are operating at different ranges. And in order for us to make sense of these different dimensions, we have to be able to see beyond the ranges that we are, you know, utilizing, the known color frequencies, right? So that being said, we want to become like this prism of rainbow ranges spectrum, the white light. The white light is the inclusion of all frequencies, the ones you can see and the ones you cannot see. That's what you are. You are that. So that white light has no definition. You cannot define it. You cannot name it. It doesn't have a personality. Personality is too small for it because it's ever flowing. It's constantly observing, moving. and learning through its infinite potential, which is what you are. And when you begin to tune into that truth, there is this incredible moment of breathing and saying, oh, yes, I am free, I am infinite, I am whole, I am one with the all. So this is what we need to embody, or what we can embody. There, let me put it this way, there's an invitation for you to embody every single moment of your day. So what happens when you begin to do that is that you start spinning the vortex of your body in a way in which source light can move through your body. Let me, okay, source light can move through your body in such a powerful way that you begin to become a generator of life force that begins to affect time, space, matter. This is not an imaginary concept. I have experienced this firsthand, time and time again. I have proven it to myself, and I know thousands of people around the world also tune in and know this as an innate part of themselves. So my invitation for you this week, again, as a reminder, every week, what does it mean to love the self? It's to understand that when we, and breaking the patterns is hard. I understand the patterns of strong emotions, angers, helplessness, frustrations that come up. It can be very hard to break the pattern, but in that moment, this is where I want you to become the alchemist that immediately interrupts whatever you have to do. You have to shake yourself, you have to jump around, you have to, you know, walk into another room, interrupt the process of the brain, because the brain, most of us are functioning like robots. We're just playing out patterns because we're programmed, and we're programmed in so many layers that your endocrine system, the chemicals in your body, the biome, the bacterias and that you have inside of your, you know, the little bugs that we have in our biome, you know, all of those are interconnected with this system that have grown and made a home into the body as a result of certain behaviors your entire life. So they even direct the things that you crave to eat, the things that you crave to feel. Sometimes they cause sadness or depression in you to make you want to eat something, for example. You know, so if you think about it, these are all parts of the human experience that we neglect, but they play a tremendous role. And a lot of people, they immediately go to diet to change it. And diet is very important, but I believe that actually the internal work is more important, because immediately when you start to come into that place of peace in your body, when you begin to come into a state of learning how to interrupt the brain patterns through meditation, you will naturally gravitate towards a healthier diet. And the way healthy diets have been created is, of course, you know, it's modeling the body, right? Because we need to eat the rainbow, we need to eat nourishing live food, all this stuff. You guys know this, I know you know this. So the key is that we begin to interrupt these patterns that our little bodies, you know, have been programming for a lifetime, and create patterns of such absolute compassion for the self that you literally embrace your body and you say, you're safe, you know, I love you, you're safe, I love you. This is very powerful to do. literally embrace yourself and say that, because a lot of times, in this spiritual journey, we have to learn how to transcend these levels in different ways. So for some people right now, this can be about emotions and traumas as children. But you get to the next level, let's say you clear all that out, you're going to begin to work with past lives. Okay, you're going to meet the same kind of challenges, because it always comes down to that. Why? Because we are in a matrix of duality. So this is actually a plus, and it's also a very challenging part of this matrix, duality, that we see things dualistically, positive, negative, love, fear. And so all the experiences within this matrix multiverse, multidimensionally, physically, in this timeline and in other timelines, are going to be somehow translated by your human mind, because this is what the human mind is designed and constructed to experience at this time, is duality. So you're going to want to see things in a dualistic way. So as you clean up matrix programming, which is all dualistic programming, all programs of separation, you're going to begin to understand that that duality is an illusion. And you have to be able to do that in all these experiences. And once you understand it, the entire body comes back into alignment immediately. This is how you know that you have understood something. Illness, for example, let's say this little cold, you have a chest congestion. Okay, so immediately tuning into the discomfort of the physical body, beginning to tune into what is there, the discomfort. If you can describe the discomfort in emotions, this is very important. And this is where a lot of my clients, they get hung up. It's incredible how so many people cannot describe their discomfort in emotions. Why? Because there's been such a severe disconnect between the mind and the body, the emotional body, all of their lives, because of trauma, because of the inability to vocalize emotions, to communicate needs, everything that we are not taught as humans, that should be basic education 101 when we come into this world, to learn how to understand our emotions, navigate and process emotions. We are not taught. So there's a major disconnect between perceptions, experiences, emotions, and the way we feel about ourselves. And the identity becomes a very fragile little thing around us. And as soon as we experience the next thing that challenges that part of us, it can break. So this is why we now are kind of becoming the leaders, where we create a foundation for an incredible new way of interacting, new way of being. And how we do that is by breaking those neural pathways, those patterns of experiences that have caused fractalization. Now, fractalization is very important, because when we fractalize through trauma or experiences, literally life force cannot move through here, because again, we are blocking. Hold on a second. Okay. So life force cannot move through our bodies because we are blocking it. Okay. Every single one of these blockages in this person's body here, this is a thought form. It's also the clenching of a stomach muscle. It's the anxiety that they feel. It's the the insecurity that they feel, the fear that they feel. Every single one of these thought forms, and there are layers, layers and layers. The bigger the thought form that is in your space, the more blocked you are. And very interesting thing happens with these blockages, that when you look at them in another dimensional plane, when you look at them, when I see these in people's bodies, you know what they actually look like is like some kind of artificial intelligence of some kind. Like they really look like that. They look like octopuses. They look like these strange amoeba type entities. And they are connected to the energetic body and go all the way into the physical part of the physical body in layers, through the skin, through the organs, through the nervous system, literally affecting the body. And a lot of times they are encrusted into the spinal cord, and it becomes an overlay, almost like a parasite over the body. This becomes your way of thinking. It's the filter of how you see, think, and feel. So these little cloud parasites, you know, it would be great if they just look like that, but they actually are a bit more complex. And it really depends on the person's vibrational frequency. But we have these aspects in us. These are blockages of thought forms that we need to learn how to remove from the body. These can be removed, and I've said this in other classes, it can be removed etherically, energetically, or you can remove it from your DNA level, which is deprogramming, which is that you're going into the subconscious mind and you're transmuting through the alchemical process the foundations within the nervous system, the mind, thoughts that feed into this item. Because we can etherically move it, and many healers, they etherically move, they said, oh, I'm going to remove this entity, remove this thing, but then next week, you know, you're back in the same place. And the reason why is because it's not removed from the DNA, like you haven't deprogrammed. Some really powerful thing happens when you alchemically transmute these thought forms. Immediately, the life force begins to activate in the spinal cord, and it begins to activate this fluid through the body that decalcifies many of the higher faculty systems in the body, including the pineal gland. And the amygdala, which is in charge of your survival, fight or flight, also begins to shift. This immediately begins to transform the size and the expansion and the health of your chakra system immediately. That's what a transmuted thought does, all at once. That's very powerful. So if you have an illness in the body, you literally can heal that illness by understanding the root cause. You can transmute it. I can give you so many examples. But just this week with this little flu, every single little phase of the flu is an incredible opportunity. I mean, every single, when you look at it in the multidimensional realms, memories, like certain body aches brought up memories of certain things, you know, and you just dive into them and you begin to unpack it. As soon as I deprogram, immediately that pain went away. And this is how I kept working. I think this flu would have been a lot more severe if I hadn't done this work. But this is a testament to how illness does not exist in the body that is in a constant state of transmutation, of flow, of source. And the key is, and what's happening globally right now for us is that the way that we're moving right now interdimensionally, you know, they say the veil is thinning, but what that means is many things, but it's like we're being able to manifest in a way that is faster than other times, which means that we are more accountable for our words, our thoughts than ever before. And it's really, you know, I thought this was true maybe 15 years ago, but it's different. It feels different in these realms. The physical body is really taking a toll. Over the past couple years, people have gone through this phase as we are approaching the photon belt, in which we are coming to a 0 point for humanity, vibrationally. And upon approaching this 0 point, there has to be many waves of clearing of frequency on this earth. Any kind of frequency that doesn't match the collective frequency, which we are moving as a planet Earth in a solar system, in a galaxy, those things begin to transmute themselves back into the life cycle. And so this is the same for many aspects of ourselves, energetically, interdimensionally. So the beauty of that is that it allows us an opportunity to train, of course, as we have agreed to train, or have an opportunity to experience this transmutation. And you will hear more people talk about transmutation than ever before in these next few years. It's going to be coming back into the mainstream. But the key is to understand, what does that mean and how do we do this? So the moment that you interrupt this emotional thought form, you immediately begin to change the way that your frequency is held in the body. And it's going to feel very uncomfortable for you. It's going to feel uncomfortable for you because your body is going to want to resist it. Sometimes you're going to feel fear because you're going to say, oh my gosh, what if when I go into love, I'm vulnerable? Or what if I am not safe? That's part of the programming of the fear part of you that is deeply programmed in the energetic and muscle system. So we have to be able to override that. And as you begin to override that, the entire body will begin to adjust itself back into proper breathing, proper posture, proper, it's a homeostasis that's created within the body. So this state of unconditional self-love is an incredibly powerful way to heal and to activate the higher faculties of the body. There is a secretion that is created within the spine when we transmute these lower density frequencies. This secretion is something that can be, it's pure light, pure light. This pure light that is created is similar to what we might think of as gold. That when you turn this darkness into light and you fill the body with light, this is how you begin to activate. So this secretion that can be made in the physical body begins to nourish everything in the physical body. and it heals. So, oh, where's my things? So as we come in to a higher vibrational frequency, the body begins to expand. Our DNA begins to write in a way that is harmonious, not only with just you and your organism, but the universe. This is the key, that when we start creating this incredible golden substance through the transmutation process, the entire organism of the human body comes into alignment with this universe, because you begin to open your vortices, your chakra systems in a way where, remember that these are vortexes, and the chakras are made up of vortices, micro vortices as well. Each one of those is an expression of what's encoded in your DNA. It can connect you to different dimensions, which you exist in. So this is how we have the ability to access these parts of us, and we can work with them. We work with these aspects of us in dream time when we're astral projecting. It's very important when we enter into these higher states that we begin to navigate them consciously. And we have to be in this creator self, this, look at this aligned body. All the chakras are in alignment, connecting all the way up to source. And remember that we connect our higher chakras, not just the lower ones. 8th, 7th, and 8th is just the beginning. We want to activate all the way up to the 13th, up to 22, 24, as high as you can go. And I advise you to connect with your body non-egoically, because some people are like, oh, I have to get up to 22, I have to get up to 24. You know, that's not what that's about. Because these chakras are realms of information. They are universes that open up to you, and you can't fake that opening. You know, you encounter that information through your work, through meditation. So this is something that we work lovingly, you know, in your process. So I want you to honor that and use your intuition. Your body will tell you what colors it needs in the crown. It'll tell you what colors it needs up in the higher realms, and how high you need to open. Every day can be different. Some days I'm only opening to 8. Some days I can open up to 54. You know, so we need to listen, because you are, remember, the observer of the universe. And so we're learning how to navigate dimensions constantly, in and out, all the time. The thing is to maintain, before we even get there, that we maintain a state of bliss, not a manufactured bliss, not just happy face. No, not just, you know, jokey things. I'm talking about deep, grounded, foundational bliss from the inside out, that is encoded into your DNA, that is expressed and emanating through you as truth, absolute, authentic truth that cannot be replicated or imagined or, you know, acted. That kind of truth is something that is emitting from every aspect of you, and you can feel it. You can feel it when people are embodying this kind of truth. They have come to terms, they know themselves in such a deep way. So let's go into our meditation, my loves, and let's get into this bliss state. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? When your Kundalini is being activated, it is your chakras that are being activated, correct? Well, Kundalini simply means life force. It means energy, life force, and you are life force. So every time that we allow life force to move through our physical bodies, Literally right now, you're going to imagine anchoring white light through your body, anchoring it down like a pillar of light down to the center of the earth. And that pillar of light is literally, if you can imagine it, it completely nourishes this body. The amount of chakras that you activate in your body is the amount of white light that you can anchor through your body. Because these are vibrational ranges of frequency and dimensions that you exist within and as. So it's not just, it is the chakras. Chakras are fractal, microfractal aspects of your architecture that allow your infinite source to move through. So this is what we have to anchor, okay, through the body. Could thought forms be activated by AI? If so, perhaps we would receive these only if in resonance too. Yeah, so yes, there is definitely infiltrating thought forms. Yeah. Yeah, there is definitely of course the human that becomes more you know, artificial, right? The artificial intelligence. What's artificial intelligence? It's non-conscious intelligence. Intelligence that is unaware of itself. So we become conscious when we become aware of ourselves, aware of everything that you are in your deepest darkness to your highest light, the awareness of yourself in that stillness of the observer. So artificial intelligence, if we are not even aware of ourselves, if we don't remember the self, we forget the self all the time, and the self falls asleep every 5 minutes into hypnosis, distracted by something external, getting identified with the emotions, experiences. We are externalizing the experience, and that the external is the illusion. So if we're caught in the illusion, we are basically living an entire life of sequence of illusions. And the human is nothing more than a little puppet that begins to kind of move through these experiences. So the moment that the human becomes aware, they can actually begin to choose. And that awareness is a powerful change. Artificial intelligence, as I mentioned, those attachments that come into the body, they literally look like some kind of, when we look at, for example, when you look at a bacteria inside under a microscope, it looks like some kind of alien life form, when you look at it in nano level, sometimes you can see these viruses, they look like little spiders, and it's very interesting. But again, as above, so below. Within this multiverse, we have these little bacteria, these parasites is what we call them, right? And the parasites is these organisms that have need from an external source in order to survive. So we have to be very careful. When we become parasites, we are also artificial intelligence, because we are barely working through the repetitive patterns. It isn't until we stop cycling the repetitive patterns that we can stop maybe even reincarnating again and again and again in the genetic database of karma that we keep coming into. That is not nature. These are embedded through millennia codes, programs of illusions, right? These simulations of lifetimes in order to experience and learn. But if the organism is not becoming aware of itself in each one of those simulations, at some point, it dissolves right back in. So this is the thing. When you become aware, you begin to detach from this artificial overlay of this matrix, and you begin to see things as they truly are. So yes, there is artificially created or infiltrating thought forms, but nothing will infiltrate you without your permission. So if you're in hypnosis, you're allowing, through unconscious resonance, you are a match. Everything is resonance. Your vibrational subconscious belief systems are a match to whatever this quote unquote infiltrating thought form is. And I will tell you that the higher you go, the stronger the challenges will get, because anyone that says, oh, it's going to get easy when you get higher up, no, it's actually harder, because the duality, you can feel it stronger the higher you go. You have to understand, that's why the key is neutrality in all dimensional layers. Don't categorize things as artificial, organic. Just focus on neutrality, and you will naturally be able to identify what is good for the whole, the self and the whole. So that's super powerful. Geraldine, does certain blood types signify a level of life path? Well, I guess I would have to understand what your definition of life path means, because I have a feeling that might be some very specific school of thought. And I guess let me talk briefly about purpose. I don't necessarily believe that every person has one specific purpose that they're here to do, and they have to get that, they have to reach that, otherwise they're not doing what they're supposed to do. I don't believe that at all. I think that the entire human experience, that's the experience. The experience is you have an opportunity to become an alchemist and experience something different, or you can continue to live in this matrix. So I think that the blood type, I will say that the alchemical transmutation, however, does shift the way that our blood is expressed, that our DNA is expressed. And I believe that this Christ consciousness concept that came into our bloodline is not about a religion. It's not about a Jesus, a man named Jesus. And this is no offense to anyone that is following this religion. But I do believe, looking at it from the bigger picture, that this concept of Christ consciousness is actually a representation of what happens in your genetic DNA when you have this alchemical transmutation process. There's a mutation that occurs within the blood types. And these mutations, if we look at history, I'm writing about this in my new book, that every single transmutation creates a mutation in blood groups. And these have been controlled through history, through genetic modification and social engineering. And so, this is it's a deep topic to get into, but when we look at history, there have been very few mutations that have survived. Certain ones like Rh negative, for example, that coincidentally are the highest of experiencers in the world, time and time again. When we do surveys of experiencers, they're RH negative every time, RH negative, RH negative. They remember their contact. And so this is telling us something more visually. I can tell you this information just psychically because of the connection of looking in the field. But let's look at the facts here in the physical. These Rh negative blood types are remembering their contact more because, you know, they have aspects of their DNA that's more active. And this Rh negative, for example, is a mutation that occurred out of nowhere. They cannot explain it biologically, you know, throwing it through history, anthropologically, all these different ways. They cannot explain how it came into our field. So there are also other little mutations that aren't talked about very much, that are very important, that are also part of experiencers and other phenomena. What is that telling us? People that have experiences and phenomena, they are active in these dimensional realms. There's also another study of people that are doing out-of-body experiences. All of these people that are mastering interdimensional travel, that are learning how to navigate interdimensionally, have iterations of this alchemical transmutation and mutations in their historical bloodline. And usually the ones that have it the most in their historical bloodline are utilized the most for these hybridization programs, because more source life force has been anchored into those fractals within these timelines. So if you are a fractal in this timeline that anchors more source through your body, you are very valuable, because you, again, remember, it's like you become, in this net field, you're becoming one with all. You have access to more. You have access to more. More life force to your body means you become one with all. You have more access to more. Your activated DNA is activating portals of information. Why? Because your DNA is a coil, is a vortex as well. You are a vortex, and within you is infinite vortices, that you have access to different dimensions. Each person has a unique cocktail of DNA, cocktail of access to different dimensional planes. So your ability to access those dimensional planes makes you very important, because some of you have more access to, let's say, Pleiadian, Arcturian, you know, all these things, these names that we give. But these are dimensional layers. And dimensional layers are very powerful because they allow us access to navigation. Each one of these dimensional layers, which we find so-called certain extraterrestrials, I don't call them, I call them interdimensionals, because they are fractals of ourselves in these dimensions which we are interacting with, we are becoming aware of. And so as we access these parts of us, we begin to access some very important information that can be anchored into any timeline. You can bring that information into any timeline, and you can utilize it. So this is obviously, you know, parasited on in many different ways, not only by the matrix, but other parasites. So the key, again, is to understand that your DNA is so incredibly valuable. That is the gold. That is the essence. So this is what we are learning how to use. Okay, let's go to the meditation. We're going to start by inhaling deeply, please. And exhaling. With every breath you take, allow yourself to come into a state of complete neutrality. complete observation. We're just going to allow ourselves to take a moment to reconnect with our breath without any expectation. Any thoughts that come into the mind, just imagine them like clouds that just come and go. They're okay, no judgment. I want you to begin to connect with your toes. Bring all your awareness to your toes. Your ankles. Going up into the shins, the calves. The knees. Going up into the thighs. If your body wants to move, just resist any urge to move or to just breathe through any kind of discomfort that might come up. As you go into your base of the spine, into your hips, into the solar plexus. And this is the most important part because this is where we have the biome and the center of our emotions. So with every breath you take, just allowing yourself to come into a state of complete neutrality, relaxing every single muscle. Some of you might not even be aware how you are holding your breath or holding on to tenseness in your body, trying to control the way you look, the way you feel, the way you're experiencing this moment. I just want you to completely release it. Allowing the oxygen to come in, nourishing the body. We're going to ask every cell in this body to wake up consciousness, to come into awareness. Going to go up into the chest. Going up into the neck, into the head, the face, the arms, the hands. You're going to feel your entire body as a whole. And we're going to experience feeling this body as a whole for 2 minutes. So taking a nice deep breath, I just want you to sit and experience the body as a whole. Focusing only on your breath as you inhale and exhale. Breathing deeply. I want you to begin to bring down from source a pillar of white light that comes down through the crown of your head. This pillar of white light is going to be perfectly intact. The pillar of white light begins to break in parts of the body that require more healing or that are blocked. So just pay attention that as you pull this pillar of white light through your body, that you are noticing the parts that look like it's hard to make solid inside your body. And you're going to just make it solid. So a solid pillar of white light through your whole body. Bring it down through the center of the brain, the head, the neck. Down into the chest. Notice the body adjusting as you do so. Down into the solar plexus. Making sure the spine, down into the perineum, all the way down to the center of the earth. And you're going to begin to feel that source moving through your body, almost as if you're standing underneath a waterfall. Imagine that this life force that moves through you begins to pull with it any kind of debris in the body, illnesses, blockages, limitations. From the center of the earth, go ahead and visualize a powerful wave of green life force rushing up into the body, beginning to create a vortex. This vortex begins to move your vortex, clearing out any cobwebs if we haven't been moving. Spinning. As you begin to feel that spin, notice a very calming feeling come over the body. From source, pull down cosmic gold light that comes down to the crown of the head once again and combines with this green earth energy. As it begins to rotate, I want you to begin to look at your multidimensional body, just like that image that I showed you of the many layers of yourself in the earth and in the universe. All the chakras of your body, begin to observe yourself. How is your body doing today? How are you? What part of you is asleep? Which one of your chakras is out of balance today? Which one of your bodies is damaged, blocked, hurt, ripped? I want you to begin to go through each one of the layers of your body and repair them. As you repair them, you'll notice how you begin to feel differently. Some of you have tears in your bodies for a very long time. These are things we cannot accept. Parts of us were not healing. As you go through the layers of your body, clearing, restoring, healing, go ahead and take 10% of this green and gold, or just simply imagine that you're going to eliminate out, down through the center of the earth, all the debris that you're picking up in your multidimensional body. Notice any resistance to letting go of feelings, thoughts, resistance. Okay, you're going to take 80% of that, shoot it up your spine, and from the crown of the head, create a fountain coating the outside of your fields, neutralizing our entanglement to the matrix. All of the cords, people, places, and things, any kind of parasitic cords that we are draining our life force unconsciously. Gently allow yourself to call back your life force now consciously into your body. It comes back to you as golden light. And you release anything that doesn't belong to you out of the body. Breathing. Very good. So you're going to go back to your solar plexus, and this is the most important part. Now, green and gold, we're going to feed into the physical body. Go ahead and bring that green and gold body, into the pores, the flesh, the muscles, the bones, down to the cellular level, transforming any darkness into pure white light. Breathing. And this is where you begin to nourish the body. And I want you to focus on feeling love for every part of your body. You're going to start bringing that green and gold light into the toes. I want you to love that part of your body. Ankles. I really want you to focus on this part. The shins, the calves, the knees. Bringing love into the body. Nourishing the body, healing the body. Going up into the organs of the body. We're going to spend some time here, allowing the organs of the body to begin to nourish themselves, to regenerate. Direct that love into the body. It's so powerful. The body becomes strengthened, becomes alive, conscious, and aware. Go up into the chest. Again, same thing. Nourish it, bring it into the chest. I want you to saturate your lungs, your heart with love. Go into the armpits and the arms, into the hands. Saturate your body with love. Love yourself. You're going to feel the warmth beginning to activate the center dantian. The center dantian in the center of the body. This is the center of empowerment. You'll notice that it begins to feel very warm, or you feel a strength there. That's love. So as you feel that love, the body heals. Keep going up into the neck, into the head, the brain, the eyes. Okay, let's go into the pineal gland. I want you to see your pineal gland is at the very tip of the entire spine. Go all the way down to the base of the spine now. down to the perineum. See that anchor of white light through your body. Begin to bring that white light down into the spine, pulling it up the spine. I want you to feel absolute love in this spine. Going up into the base of the neck, into the pineal gland, and I want you to see your pineal gland activating almost as if it were a flower. You know, the pineal gland looks like a little, it looks like a little acorn. I want you to visualize it expanding as if it was, as if it was blooming. You're immediately going to feel your third eye chakra beginning to activate. I want you to expand your third eye chakra as wide as you can. Activate that. Some of you might feel a slight pressure in the forehead. This is natural. You're going to go to the throat. I want you to activate the throat chakra. Expand the throat chakra front and back. Fill the throat chakra with love. Expand that love through that chakra. Go up into your chest. Expand your heart chakra. Allow yourself to love. Give yourself permission to love. Become acquainted with the power of love. Feel safe in this love. Feel empowered. And also learn to feel neutral in this love. You're going to open up your solar plexus into a balanced state. Especially the back of the solar plexus. Go ahead and get out all that gunky stuff that's there. Stagnation, suppression, fear, angers, resentments. Free yourself in a state of neutrality. Come back into sacral chakra. Open it into a balanced state. Go into the root. Same thing, sacral and root. Clear that out. fears, anxieties, shame, guilt, whatever you're working on, transmute it into love. Breathe here for a moment. I want you to memorize this feeling as you begin to become acquainted with this bliss state that is available to you at any time. Notice how your breathing is even and calm. Notice how your mind is silent. So this is the place that I want you to fall in love with. Remember it. And you're going to bring yourself into this place as many times as possible throughout your day this week. Go ahead and focus again on the pillar of white light through your body. Check in. Make sure that pillar of white light is super solid through your body, down to the center of the earth. We're going to begin to go up into the 7th chakra and your crown. Go ahead and activate your crown. What is the color that you need in order to come into your highest expression? See it and illuminate it. We're going to illuminate the areas of our career, abundance, and pay attention to every single one that I'm naming out. I want you to align yourself with your intention in those areas. Family, relationships, health, consciousness, peace, and purpose. What are you here to do? I want you to see a room filled with karmic contracts. These are all the agreements we've made. This is a projection of everything that is encoded in your DNA that's been ancestrally passed down through the mitochondria, through the matrix programming, through the entanglement within the matrix, in all dimensional layers. Everything that we are here to address at this current time, we have an opportunity of looking at. So go ahead and see those agreements. These agreements make up every emotion, everything that creates your personality, everything that creates your identity, everything that creates the life that you live now. And just notice in these contracts all of the karmic agreements to experience these challenges of separation, experiences of separation. When you're ready, if you're ready to let them go, shine your crown light on top of them. You're going to gently and lovingly dissolve them. One by one, those contracts clear that room. And as you clear that room, Many of you will begin to feel a very light feeling, almost as if you can breathe or a weight has been lifted. You're working right now in the higher dimensional field of your body. This is very powerful. So as you do that, we're going to set the intention that our intention now is to continue experiencing this life here within the matrix, but we're going to do it from our highest intention, from awareness, so that we can be conscious through this experience in a state of unconditional love. So go ahead and allow yourself to see that, fill that room with that color. Very good. Breathing. Go ahead and allow yourself to activate the 7th, activate the 8th, activate the 9th, activate the 10th, your intention is very important at this point. Activate the 11th, activate the 12th, activate the 13th, activate the 14th, activate the 15th. And above you is a powerful white light of source. Go ahead and connect up into source. Once again, see that pillar of white light. It's always there. It just becomes really thin when we forget, when we fall asleep. The more you wake up, the wider it is until you basically become that white light. So as you see that white light, I want you to embody love. Love in your body. Acceptance. Forgiveness. You are good. You are divine. You are worthy. You are lovable. You are loved. And you are love. This is the truth. So just notice how your body begins to radiate this feeling. You can gently bring yourself back into the room and open your eyes. Very good. Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. Very good. Amazing work. So I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Can you briefly explain 13 levels of the body and how they relate to the chakras? The 13 dimensions of the body are the chakras. This is the thing that's very important to understand. There's no difference between the chakras and dimensions. And I'm not sure this has been flushed out properly. I mean, I have not been able to really find someone externally that talks about what this, other than a person that has vision of their multidimensionality, people that can see their multidimensionality, they know this. Every single chakra is a dimension. And when you begin to activate your vision, you will also experience that. You will see that. Every single dimension is literally the way light is bent in that time and space. The more limited the dimension, the less ranges of frequency that can access those dimensions. Therefore, those dimensions, every single, we talked about the first dimension. The first dimension will limit the amount of frequency that can access that dimension, right? So that's why the wave length, the way that the wave is moving through the first dimensional plane is very different, right? This is a very slow, dense, limited dimension. You know, the dimensions, it looks like a piece of paper. It's like a one-dimensional drawing, right? Two-dimensional drawings, three-dimensional drawings. So the way that we look at the sacred geometry of every single one of these dimensions shows us how light is bent in each one of these dimensions. And there are certain platonic solids. The platonic solids are basically geometry that allows us to understand how light is bent in each one of these dimensional layers. So that also means that the organisms that reside within each one of these dimensional layers are made up of the architecture of how light is bent. So entities from the second dimensional plane, for example, very specific form, shape, and they can exchange certain vibrational frequencies. And they can feed and parasite off certain data in that second dimensional plane. And so we find them there. So let's go up to the third, fourth, fifth. We understand the chakra systems as interconnected with the different organs as well. So each one of these chakras is connected to the endocrine system within the physical body. And beginning with the sexual organs at the root, for the male, the testicles; for the females, it's the sacral, the womb. And, essentially this lower dantian here, the root, the sacral, and the solar, going up to the solar plexus, this basically is the engine of creation within the physical. It's everything you need to create within the physical matrix. Look, these three-dimensional planes all make up the physical dimension. So a human could probably survive by all their life only functioning here in the first three, and then maybe one or two of these up here are active. But they're going to be like very unconscious, very mechanical, robotic, not really the great health, not having intuitions of any kind. So and this is what we were talking earlier. For those of you that came late, we were talking about artificial intelligence and the organic, the difference between those two. But the chakra systems of the body that are impacted, stagnant, or out of balance clearly show you the state of consciousness of a human being. When this chakra systems are out of balance, stagnant, closed, out of the body, fractalized, it shows that the human has not developed or healed integrated those parts of themselves. Therefore, their navigation of those dimensions is also affected. So if the human has the majority of the first three chakras active, it's their life is usually survival, material world, probably sex, reproduction, right? So that's their whole world. That makes up their level of their God. Remember the level of creator states we were talking about previously? Let me see if I can find that. This goes in correlation with that. Pretty sure I had it here, but maybe I don't. Here it is. Right, so this is like someone that's operating from the first three chakras. So they can only navigate dimensions in this way. I'm talking about it from a psychological, physical perspective. You know, honestly, the chakras is a very deep and complex topic that we can make maybe another Sunday we'll focus on just that, because there's many parts to it. There's chemical part to it, electrical part to it, there's an interdimensional part to it. It really, the chakras are what make up our reality. That's the thing. Okay, so let's go up to the chakras here in the middle dantian. The awareness, the third eye, the heart, and the throat chakra. You know, when you start feeling unconditional love, when you start connecting, manifesting, communicating, and when you start seeing, right? When you start accessing the higher dimensions, this is where you start going into creation. So we can overlap this chart with our chakras and our dimensions. Also pure knowing, pure consciousness, enlightened awareness, beings, spirits. This is the spirit realm. What is the spirit realm? The spirit realm is tuning into the information of the Akash, because the Akash is the record, the DNA of the earth in which we live in. So the human body, the human is an organism, but they are an entire universe within themselves. That's why they say that, right? Because within this human, they have access through these chakras to all these dimensions. And within the human, the earth ends at around, let's say, the 10th dimensional. That's where we get to the spirit realm, the 7th, the 8th chakra. The spirit, that's the Akash, the DNA of the earth. So all the spirits, ghost beings, you know, all those things, we have access to seeing, knowing, our ancestors, all of the history of the DNA and our reincarnation cycles, it's all there. When we start going up to the higher realms, this start going into, let's say, the 8th, 9th, 10th dimensional plane. This is the end of the realm that connects to the earth. Now we start going into interdimensional consciousness, and we start going into the 11th dimension, which is more like an angelic realm. Fallen angels, archon type things, going up into the higher 11th, 12th dimensional beings that are more like light beings. Extraterrestrials are going to be between the 12th and the 7th dimensional chakra. Okay, so just keep that in mind. They can manifest as anything within those dimensional realms, because we're not talking about a separate entity consciousness. We're talking about consciousness that manifests and is available to you through resonance and frequency. So if it's a frequency that you need to look at, it can be, let's say, presents itself to you as a lyran. this Lyran comes, let's say, from the 10th dimensional plane, it's an aspect of your Lyran aspect that has become active in order to activate that information, that Lyran aspect of yourself. Okay, so within this circle here of this man is everything from the earth, the psychology, and the human karmic cycle, reincarnation cycle. Everything outside of that begins to go into the interdimensional realms. So that's how it is. So you go up to the 12th, 13th dimensional realm, you're going to start accessing more light, less form beings. But I will tell you that some ETs cloak themselves as these higher dimensional realms, and actually they're quite parasitic. So in truth, anything from the 13th dimensional plane under can be parasitic because they're still abiding by this matrix multiverse. There's still an exchange. Things that are above this are going to be more sovereign, so they will not interfere with another human. So it's important to know that. Going back to the questions. Hello, much love, everyone. Joining time and space coordinate. Thank you so much, Kevin, for joining us. Ellie, I'm so glad you're feeling better. Ellie said she had a flu as well. So thankful for the presence. I'm so proud of you and the work that you're doing. That's amazing, Ellie. Marilena says, when your Kundalini is being activated, is it your chakras that are being... Oh, I answered that one already. Okay. Thank you, Marilena. Could thought forms be activated? I answered that too. Can this meditation be used as grounding? I joined when I got the email, so email came late. Oh, email might have come late. That's very unfortunate. I'm very sorry about that. I sent it at 1 o'clock. That should be automatic, actually. That's, yeah. But I'm going to post this on YouTube after I'm done. So you will be able to watch the entire replay on my YouTube. I just finished your 30-day challenge from June this year. I'm getting to jump right back into day 1 tomorrow. I have evolved so much in 30 days. Your work is exquisitely dear and loving. My first live. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to hear that, Jessica. Wow, that's very wonderful. Do take care, my dear. You're such a precious gift to humanity. Thank you very much. Thank you. See you Thursday. Yes, I'll see you Thursday, Brahma. Brahma, what's Brahma? How can most people know if they have healed to the present? Okay, how do you know that you've healed? A simple answer is that trauma or memories that used to traumatize you or trigger you no longer trigger you again. So literally you could think about something that happened to you that really impacted you emotionally in the past, and it will not have the same effect on you as it used to, because you've understood deeply, you've integrated that experience. And I also explained that process earlier in our talk today. We talked about the alchemical transmutation process that heals. It literally changes chemically the body. It creates the transmutation process of low density vibrational frequency into high vibrational frequency creates an alchemical shift in the body that creates this substance of light. Light that is created by the transmutation of emotion is what we know as gold. This is the ormus, right? The ormus, the gold. That's another topic for another time. But the gold that we have within the body is what goes up into the spinal cord, into the pineal gland, and activates our crown into the highest state. So yeah, if you would kindly mute yourself, please make sure that you're yeah. All right, so how do our rays relate to our chakras? What do you mean by rays? Rays is a very specific school of thought. So I'm not sure what this means. I would need a definition for that. Dear Geraldine, love and light to you. We pray for your speedy recovery. Thank you so much. Question, does Earth also have her own chakras? And how do they look like? Do you know? Can you, hi guys, could you kindly mute yourself? Jonathan Tipton. I'm gonna mute you, okay, Jonathan? Sorry about that. How a part of these chakras, please? Yes, the earth. Hi, Melind. Great to have you here. Yes, the earth does have its own chakras. The chakra systems of the earth are created. Again, every single organism in this universe has ranges of frequency that make up what it is. So that's what it is. So each one of the chakras are vortices that come together to create the form of the human. It's data processing. So when this information is projected from the DNA to create these vortices, it creates the form of the human. In the same way, the earth has vortex points that create the earth. The sun has vortex points that create the sun. Every single planet in this galaxy functions in that same way, and collectively galaxies and universes also function as vortex. You can see everything moves in spirals. So some things are contractive and some things are expansive. Whatever is contractive functions like a white hole. Contractive is like a black hole. Whatever is expansive functions like a white hole. So these kinds of pooling energies in this dualistic matrix hologram is what creates this dualistic expression, and how energy flows through that pool of this contraction expansion. So that's basically how these earth chakras also function, creating runways of energy through the earth. And the earth has very specific chakras in different parts of the world that are activated. I don't have that chart with me right now, I'm sorry, but there's a certain chart that every single part of the world can tell you, and I will post that later. Melinda, thank you so much for that. We can talk about that. I love you, Geraldine. I love you too, Tina. I heard Brahma was a deity that is the creator of the lower realms. Oh, okay. Jeremy Brown, yes. I see. Hi, Geraldine. Just joined not long ago, sending blessings. Thank you so much. How can I deal with my birth and upbringing in Eastern Europe and the earth grid connecting to the clear myself from ancestral karma? So what's going to happen is, John, thank you for that question. As soon as you start working with your ancestors, what you're going to discover is that the thought forms that you're inheriting are passed down through many generations. The questions that you want to ask is, okay, why were these passed down? Why were these the thought forms that were passed down? What caused these thought forms? And you'll notice at first, of course, it's families and then traumas. But as you keep going down the generations of your ancestral lineage, questioning where these traumas are coming from, you're going to notice the external influence more and more. That'll become more clear to you. The external influence being society, religion, and there's a pattern of a very specific design and construct of belief systems that are created in our human race. So once you tap into that, this is how you're tuning in and becoming aware of what the matrix is. The matrix is construct. It's a construct. And constructs of these thought forms create form. So humans are a product of constructs. We are genetically modified and socially engineered into enter into this matrix with very specific belief systems. So the idea is that as you begin to notice these constructs within the matrix, I want you to follow the trails of where they originate. It's going to take you back to your ancestral roots, where those traits were input into those ancestral lines. Because if you look at the most natural I mean, even if you take your ancestry back to, you know, your origins, wherever you live, the most natural, you'll notice the most natural races in this world are deeply connected with nature. But there was a certain point in history that that connection with nature was severed. So it's important for each person to discover that when that was created in their ancestral lineage, in order to understand how many generations of cyclical trauma you're incarnating through. And once you realize that, it becomes very easy not to be programmed by these thought forms again, because now you're working with the grid. Because as soon as you tune in to the origins of these ancestral roots and you begin to uproot those, you begin to notice groups of your families in different parts of the world, and how they inherited those belief systems. That liberation is the healing of that generation. That's the healing of that ancestral group. So I will give you an example. When I was doing some work with my lineages, I was taken all the way back to South America, taken back to my roots there, looking at, you know, how, you know, colonialism came in and the effect of that and how it severely traumatized my ancestors, right? And this is not just, you know, for generations. Every single one of those traumas was inherited in my bloodline through my great-grandparents, great-great-great-great-grandparents, and that formulated certain personalities and ways of thinking, of having families. And coming to today, looking at our families, you might think that's completely disconnected, and it's absolutely not. There's a tremendous influence of how we are affected by these subconscious, all of those things are in your subconscious because they're encoded in your DNA. You know, so grid work is about getting into the subconscious, the deepest subconscious parts of us that we are unaware, that we cannot know, but we can access through meditation and healing. So get to those roots, and you're going to uproot them, meaning that you will liberate all of these fractals of yourself that have suffered through that trauma and reintroduce them to their source. So reintroduce them to love. So all the programming is basically the opposite of love. When we program something, we're programming it away from nature, away from love. So you are programming into love. Jeremy says, when I meditate, I'm worried my physical back will get damaged. If I ever make progress, how can I remove these worries? Hi, Jeremy. Yeah, I'd love to know a little bit more about why you feel that your back will get damaged in meditation. Are you talking about the posture, or are you talking about Kundalini, concepts of ascension or transmutation? Usually, you know, the physical body, actually, your body will straighten up into a straight back the more you meditate, because it organically knows that in order to channel more source light, it has to have non-obstructed fluid movement through the spine. And you will naturally sit up straight. So I strongly advise that when you're meditating, that you connect with your body. Just listen to your body. If you need to lay down, that's fine. If you need to sit up, that's fine. And if you're worried about your spine getting damaged through transmutation or something, that cannot happen, because unless you're transmuting in the opposite direction of anger and hate, instead of love, the body can only heal in any way. So I'll wait for you to add to that if you have anything to add or clarify. When parasites are manifested in the body, how can we transmute them on the physical? What is this related to? Giving away our power. Yeah, so depending on where in your body you are holding on to these parasites, because every single organ in the body is connected with the chakra. So it depends. The part of the organs, it's very important. It can be the large intestine, small intestine, it can be your biome, different parts of your organs are connected to different parts. So there's a consciousness there. There's a thought form that is basically on Groundhog Day, it's on repeat. It keeps repeating, and looping, and it's stuck and it's feeding off that stagnant thought form. So that basically has to be made aware, and then released. It's not only about power in terms of in a simplified form, because it's, if you feel disempowered in your life in any way, you can allow parasites to come in. But there's complexities to parasites. You need to understand what's the belief that's actually allowing them. Can someone with parasites transmit that to someone else physically? Or energetically? Well, the thing is this, actually, if we are with someone that has parasites, we really can't separate ourselves from the parasites, because remember that everything is resonance, and we are with people, we are attracted to people, and we are with people by resonance. So there is a subconscious belief system for both people that brought them together in order to experience. And if they're both experiencing parasites together, there's a lesson there, a mutual lesson that has to be kind of understood. So the question is, how are belief systems of powerlessness being played out, either individually or together? This would be the more important question, and it could actually be the solution to the parasites, because sometimes if these parasites manifested within the time that you were together, it also means that you both manifested together and contributed to that. So, and this is simply because, you're talking about a partnership. So there's a role that is being played here if you're talking about giving it to other people. Now, we can take on parasites if we have that same belief system. This is what I'm getting at. Okay, so if you also have that same belief system, and somehow it seems that there is some subconscious belief system that you are in agreement with, otherwise there wouldn't be that match. So we need to find out what is the subconscious belief system, and then, hopefully, you also don't get parasites. But yeah, so it's about the belief. All right, it's incredible answer. I understand, and I have a clear picture how to approach dealing work. Awesome, thank you, John. Oh, okay, so Jeremy says, posture after leaving the body. Does posture maintain its healthy position? If I can assure, sorry if I'm confusing. No problem. So yeah, Jeremy, so when you're leaving the body, yeah, don't worry about it. Like if you're gonna deliberately practice out of body experiences, honestly, when I used to meditate for long hours, like 9 hours, my body would go into hibernation. It would sit in meditative state. I mean, nothing would be able to move it. It would just sit there, and I would be able to travel out of body without any problem. The body wouldn't bend. I wouldn't feel like laying down. It would stay still. And when I've read other books of people like Buddhas, or people that have also meditated like this long times, they have also experienced similar things. So I think that the more you master your meditation in your physical body, the body immediately cooperates. It goes into hibernation. So you will not damage yourself. But if you should never have fear around these things, just because the whole process of meditation is about trust in the self, like learning how to trust the self. And especially if you're going to be navigating in dimensions, you got to really trust yourself. Okay, my loves, I'm getting a little bit tired. Ayola says, can you speak more on releasing cyclical disempowered belief systems we resonate with related to family traumas and multiple lineage? Wow, yeah, such an important question. Disempowering cyclical belief systems are really a matter of it's a matter of understanding these patterns, because it's also in layers. Disempowerment happens in layers, and what we need to understand is our participation in the disempowerment. That's really where I would begin. So look at all the facets of why we participate in disempowerment behaviors, thoughts in our own life. Start right there and take those, follow those. As you follow them, you'll understand where you inherited from and then why you inherited them. And again, this in continuation to my comment about ancestral family things. So yeah, if we can just reintegrate from that. And Ayola, that's such an important question that I would love to make that maybe next week's topic, because I'm totally touching on that topic this entire week. Really, really huge. Okay, so I'm going to save the chat. My loves, I love you guys so much. I want to thank you so much for joining me. You guys are incredible. I'm going to be feeling much better next week. I love you very much. And I'm going to post this on my YouTube channel so you can listen to the replay. I will answer every single one of your questions every single time. So please don't be afraid to ask. And I hope you have an incredible week. I love you guys so much. Love you, love you. So much love to you. Take care. Bye, guys.